Hi, McMonkey here. We're going to do a demo walkthrough of creating a new category and some races using the Mario Kart scoring system. So this is a scoring system that's used in a lot of Z1R Randomizer Battle Royale type tournaments. So we're just going to pretend to set up a little Z1 Battle Royale as an example, walk through all the steps needed to create the category and the races and see how the scoring works and all of that. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a category for our battle royale. So in this case, we're going to create a new one, and we'll just reuse an old one that I had done previously, glass cannon. We're going to say glass cannon, battle royale, one hit KO for the win. All right, so we've created our category here. What we might want to actually do if we were doing a actual battle royale for Z1R, we might want to, um, in our description here, have a flag string, and we could put in the flag string, whatever it ended up being here, some long flag string that would come from the Z1 randomizer program. Since we're going to use the same flag string every week, it could be helpful to just have it there in the description, and that way when if racers wanted to look at the description, they would be able to get the flag string as part of that, and we wouldn't have to put it in for every single race. So we need to set up a few things with this category. So first thing we're going to set up is we are going to set it up for Mario Kart style scoring. So the way this scoring works is uh, points are given out based on placement in each race. So first place will get the most points, second place will get a little bit less and a little bit less, and so on down. Um, if you've ever played the Mario Kart games on any of the Nintendo systems, you'd be familiar with this scoring system. Um, the particular values that are used, first place will get 21 points, second place 21, third 18, and it goes all the way down. There are 15 places, with 15th place getting 1. If you happen to have a race that has more than 15 places, everyone after 15th would get 0 points. So we set the cutoff there. In future versions of the bot, we can make these scoring values, the number of places, configurable. But for now, we are fixed to that. If you have fewer than 15, it'll always start with first place at 21. So if you just have, say, 5 people, you'd have 21, 25, 21, 18, 15, and 12 as the point values for each race. So we've assigned our scoring type here. And so all these messages pop up as ephemeral messages, like everything with the bot. So we can just go ahead and dismiss those once we're done. We're going to actually create a role here in the server. So let's go into our server settings. We'll go to roles and we'll say create a role. And we're going to say glass cannon BR racer. There we go. And we're just going to use that uh, as a role that we can uh, use to ping people when there's a new week of races. So we can now just select our newly created role here. And so now when we create a new race, the bot will give us the option to post an announcement about that race, and it will include a mention of that role as part of the race announcement. You might also want to create a submit role, and what that would do is it would assign racers that role once they've submitted a time for the race or forfeit from the race. And so then you could have a spoilers channel that you are uh, controlling access to based on that role, and the bot will automatically assign the role to people. And then when a new race is created, it will remove the role from everybody to be able to manage that on a weekly basis, creating new races. So then going through here, one of the stats we might want to keep track of with a battle royale like Glass Cannon, we may be interested in what people's death count was. It's a one-hit KO mode, so we'd be curious about how many deaths they have. I've already created the extra info for death count here. Um, I'll walk through how to create the extra info in a moment here, but for now we just want to select the already created extra info field, and now every race created in this category will have that as a field that gets collected when somebody submits a time. Um, the other configuration option you can do here is you can set a thumbnail for the Battle Royale. Um, for now, we'll leave this blank, but this would be an image that just shows up when you display the race info as a little thumbnail. So it just adds a little bit of customization for the category. And then finally, the miscellaneous, we want to make sure that our leaderboard type is set to points here. The two options are points or to show the leaderboard from the most recent race. So we want to keep track of points accumulating week to week. Um, you can select the option to pin the most recent race. And so what that will do is every time you create a new race, it will automatically post a message with buttons for submitting with the information about the seed. Alternatively, if you don't pin, you can always pin manually or have users discover the race themselves through the racer dashboard. We do not want to allow submissions on completed races in this case. Once a week has passed for the Battle Royale, you don't want people to later go back and submit to a previous week, so we're going to leave that as false. Um, we are not assigning anybody to races. There's no configuration that we need to do when creating new races, so we're going to go ahead and say activate new races, auto activate. So this will just save a couple of clicks when we create the new race. And then we can decide whether we want the death count field to be optional or mandatory on the submit form. For now, we'll leave it as optional. So now our category is all set up. So this is a one-time thing for the glass cannon. We can go ahead and dismiss those messages. And now we can create a new race. So we're going to click the races button, select create new, and tell it that we're in the glass cannon category. So for Zelda 1, we'd have some random sequence of integers for our seed. Our description, we'll say this is week 1 of glass cannon. We can put in our hash here so that people know that they have the right seed, something like that. And then additional instructions, it'll just show up along with the seed. So if you didn't already put the flag string in, or if you had a category where the flag string maybe changed each week, this would be a place where you could enter that flag string or any other instructions, additional info that you wanted to give to the racers. For now, we'll leave that one blank. So since we had already chosen to auto activate, a few things happened as soon as we clicked submit there. One, the bot is prompting us about the race announcement. It tells us that the race info was saved and it automatically opened the menu for managing the race. We don't need to change anything about the race, so we can go ahead and clear that menu. And we can see here that the message that the bot suggested is just announcing that a new glass cannon race has been created. Check it out. So we can edit the message with the checkbox. We can post the announcement as is with the X, or if we don't want to post an announcement, we can click dismiss. And so that's what we're going to do for now. So now we have created our race. If we go over to the racer dashboard and we look at open races, we can see that our glass cannon race shows up in the list. And if we click on the button, we can see the information about our race. It tells us what the seed is. You'll notice here, because the category has the information about the flag string, it doesn't show up here. So probably a good idea to include that in the additional instructions. The users can always go to the category listing, click on glass cannon, and then they would see the information, including the flag string there, but maybe a little bit easier if it's included as part of the race info. So for future races, we will include that. And so then the race is now active. Users can go ahead and race. Once they have completed, they would click the submit button, enter in their time. You'll notice the red asterisk here. This is the required field. Finish time is the only thing that's required. They can add a comment. They can add a death count optionally, and then they'd click submit and they would show up on the leaderboard. Alternatively, if they don't want to race, they just want to give up on it, they can click forfeit. It will automatically enter a max time, so 23 hours, 59 minutes, 59 seconds, and mark them as completed, give them the submit role if there's one selected, and all of that. And then finally, they can view the leaderboard. You'll notice leaderboard is only viewable once you've already submitted a time. So this prevents people from being able to get a look at the results before they've actually raced the seed and metagame it in any sort of way. Um, so back to our race moderation. So let's say we wanted to see a leaderboard. Um, we can go ahead and select this leaderboard channel. We're going to assign a channel. We have a leaderboards channel. So now every time a user, so in this case, because we have a points leaderboard, every time a race is completed, it'll be scored and then the leaderboard will be updated. Right now, we have no races completed, so the leaderboard is showing as no points scored yet. So I will go ahead and enter some times for this first race and then walk you through closing the race to show how the leaderboard will update. Okay, so we've entered some times here. We've got me racing against a bunch of bots. So since I've entered a time now, we can take a look at the leaderboard for this race. It shows us all the people who have submitted a time. They are in order of finish time, and we can see here for the people who have added a comment, it shows up. For those that added a death count, it shows up. If there's no comment, it doesn't show up on the leaderboard there. So we can see all the info there. This leaderboard will go to multiple pages if there are more than 8 to 10, depending on how big the data is. And it all shows up as, in this case, since I am using the racer menus here, this is all ephemeral messages. So this will only show up for me in this channel, so it doesn't pollute the channel with a whole bunch of commands for everyone else to see. These messages can be dismissed here, or after some time they'll go away, or you can do a hard reload of Discord with Control R, and it'll also make them all go away. So now we've gotten, let's say these are our 7 of our 8. We've got one more person, but they're not very good with Discord, so we'll show you how to manually submit a time for someone else. So we're going to go ahead and select our race. And so we have an option here to modify the submission. So in this case, we can modify any of the submissions that have already been made. Let's say UncleBot made a mistake in their submission. It was actually 2032 instead of 23. So they got those numbers backwards. We can go ahead and fix this and submit on their behalf. We can also create a submission for someone who just wasn't able to use the bot, or didn't know how, or isn't on Discord, they're on vacation, something like that. So let's go ahead and create a new one. This is our 8th racer here. We're going to give them a time of 1:33:32. We'll say they had 10 deaths, and we'll submit on their behalf. So now we've got our 8 racers. So as an administrator, I know all 8 of my racers have finished the race. I can go over and I can check the leaderboard so that I can see, yep, we've got all 8. So we are ready to finish this race. So as an aside, this race info here, when I click on this, so this message here, we can create a permanent message that includes this and post it in whatever channel as part of the race menu. So that's this pin option here. So if I were to select that option, it would ask me what channel. Let's say we wanted to post it to Racer General. And then that message would show up as it's a non-ephemeral message, so everybody could see this, everybody could use these buttons, and it would save them from having to click through and show the list of open races and all of that. So if you had a channel specific for the Battle Royale, you could pin the race info in that channel for each week for people to use. So back to our moderation. So we've got all of our racers who've submitted. Let's open up our race menu. We are now going to mark the race as completed. So marking as completed is going to both disable any new submissions to the race. It'll also score the race. So that's permanent, can't be undone at this point. So we want to make sure that everybody has submitted. In future versions, if it's important, I may add the ability to undo a race completion. But for now, this is a one-way only transition. So we've marked our race as completed. The last thing it's going to do, so it tells me now that the race has been changed to completed, it's going to update now our category leaderboard. So we can see this is our glass cannon category, and we've assigned points based on placement in the tourney. So now we can go through the same process, creating a new race, making it available for as many weeks as we need to. And each time we create a race, this leaderboard will update. So let's take a brief pause and we'll show you what that looks like after a few races. All right, so we've created a couple races here. We're on week 3. We can see I've added a thumbnail here for the category. So when you add a thumbnail image, this is how it'll show up on the race info. Just a funny little image of dead link. We can see our leaderboard for week number 3. We've got all 8 racers accounted for here. And so now we can go in and finish that race. So we go and we select week 3 from the list, and we're going to mark it as completed. We've now marked it to completed, and our leaderboard has now updated. So this is showing us the current point totals. UncleBot in the lead with 60. It shows us how many races have been completed overall in the category, and for each individual racer. There are some points types, some category types where people may not race every single one if these are like qualifier type things. So we in this case the information is duplicated, but in other category types it wouldn't be. Um, so we can see our updated leaderboard here. And then the last thing I want to show, because I realized that it didn't work properly last time. So let's create one more new race. So we are going to create week 4. We've got some seed. We've got glass cannon, week 4. We won't bother putting in a hash for now. So now with any Discord bot, there are times where there are some uh, issues with internet packets being dropped or whatever. So previously, when I had set the ping roll for the category, I never got confirmation that it was actually saved. So that should have been a clue to me that it didn't actually go through. And when we got the draft message from the bot, it did not include the at mention of that role. So I went ahead and set the ping roll this time. Actually got it to save. And now we can see with the new race, it includes the ping. We can go ahead and click edit. We can just update the message. And the at mention looks a little different here. You don't want to touch that part or it'll mess it up. This is really just the sort of raw format of mentioning a user. So that's just how it shows up as a string, but this is the message, how we're going to post it. It would then ask us what channel we want to post it in. We'll put it in Racer General, and then we see that our message got pinged here. So we might want to do that in addition to pinning the race. There is an option in the category to auto pin new races. So, if you are pinning the race every week, you can choose the pin most recent race there, and it'll, again, save you a few clicks. But that's the workflow for a Mario Kart scoring category.